The Big Red of Cornell opened the 1996 season against Princeton on an unseasonably warm September day.
Princeton came in here as the defending conference champion. They were like us in many respects, looking at a new quarterback, having some veteran players across their team, having some strength in some certain areas, but they had about as many unknowns as we did.
The Cornell defense didn't waste any time setting the tone for what would become an historic game.
Carroll, the pass for the first time, straight drop, right side, Crawford open, catches it at the 50-yard line and hauled out of bounds at the Princeton 47. Leonard gets the call, follows Pelly up the middle into the end zone, touchdown! Chad Levitt pulls his way into the end zone.
Despite the Big Red's intensity, the Tigers took a 20-7 lead deep into the third quarter. But the Cornell players fought back valiantly.
The fourth quarter seemed to be ours, and it seemed to be ours both offensively and defensively. And particularly on defense, I think we really created some momentum. We could feel it from our student section on a homecoming game weekend. We could really feel it, and we fought and scratched. When we made the field goal to make it 20-10, you could feel the game start to slip away on their side and start to come our way.
Let's go, baby!
Then we got a touchdown.
Huge hole on the right tackle, 11 inside the 10, to the goal line, touchdown, Cornell! That's what Chad Levitt knows.
Then we got another drive after having a great defensive stand that allowed us to kick a field goal.
Ball is down, the kick is up, it's high enough, it's long enough, and the kick is good! John Roden has tied this game at 20 with 4 minutes.
We came back and we tied it, you know, and we didn't realize we were going to overtime. I really think that we kicked it into high gear, because going into the fourth quarter, I know the guys were dying. You know, it was hot.
Rolling right, looking in the end zone. Crosby was open momentarily. Now the end zone, Bush for the touchdown! Steve Bush!
But as fate would have it, Princeton came back to tie, sending the game into a second overtime and setting up a dramatic climax.
He is hit by Eel, and the pass is intercepted. The Big Red will take over. A-House with the interception, and Cornell, all they need now is a field goal to win this thing in the second overtime. For the victory. Forward, he's into the end zone for a touchdown. He is in. They finally get the signal. It appears the initial surge had him in there, but they delayed in calling it.
I just remember, you know, the freshmen on the field, and there's so many people just running around screaming and stuff. I couldn't even get my breath. I had to get pulled out of the pile and take a knee and catch my breath, and then it really started to hit me how good it felt.
Yeah, that was probably one of the greatest football games I've ever played in. Most exciting, and it was just the best game to be involved with. You know, playing one of the first overtime games ever in college.
It was our goal, you know, win the homecoming game, win the first game, start the season off on the right foot. There's really no better way to start the season than to have, you know, an upset over the defending champion in double overtime.
The Princeton game turned out to be a microcosm of the season itself. The team faced considerable adversity in 1996, but they will be remembered as conquering heroes. Their achievements are many. Senior co-captain Seth Payne and underclassmen John Hanson, Chad Allen, and Justin Bird led a defense that was brutal and relentless. The Big Red defense finished the season with 21 sacks and 21 takeaways. Whatever yardage an opponent did get, he paid dearly. The defense loved to hit.
It's better than scoring touchdowns. It's better than anything.
that's what football is all about, is hitting people. So to really get a good one and lay into somebody and knock them on their back or whatever, it's the best feeling in the world.
For a wide receiver, the best feeling is catching the football. Junior Eric Causick gathered in 53 balls for 786 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's caught at least one pass in each of the last 20 games. Senior co-captain Steve Bush led the team in receptions, contributing 720 yards and 4 touchdowns. He leaves Cornell with the school record for most receiving yards in a career. It's an accomplishment that made him flip. Junior quarterback Scott Carroll threw for nearly 1,600 yards, behind an offensive line that made it all possible. But the most impressive individual statistics belong to senior co-captain running back Chad Levitt.
He makes it look easy, but nobody else can do those things, and he has such size. I mean, you see when he breaks through the line and he's running up the sideline, and there's only a few D-backs that are fast guys. He's still pulling away, even with his size. It's amazing.
Levitt had amassed 1,408 yards after 8 games, giving him a total of 4,630 in his Cornell career. He needed just 85 yards to break Ed Marinaro's all-time rushing record. Everyone assumed that record would fall on November 16th, as the Big Red traveled to play Columbia in New York City.
There was tremendous attention on Chad, which means there's a lot of attention on offensive linemen. And I've never been around a guy who's handled the pressure any better. He's had a bullseye on his chest for 3 years, and you'd never know it the way he conducts himself. Poised, confident, consistent, always ready, virtually never played a poor game in college.
I was trying not to let myself think about the yardage too much. I mean, it was hard with all the hype that week and all the media exposure I got. But I went into that game like any other game. I knew the only thing that was going to stop me from getting my record would have been an injury.
But early in the second quarter, 57 yards shy of the record, the dream was shattered. A season-ending elbow injury knocked Levitt out of the game.
I just remember lying on the field right after it happened. I knew right away that my season was done, and everybody came out and was standing around me. It was almost unreal. It was just a nightmare. It was horrible. But I don't know. I got real upset, and then I started to think about it and started to be happy for everything that I did accomplish, and started to look at the bright side and kind of take it in stride and look to the future.
I don't know that I've ever been strengthened more by a player than seeing how Chad Levitt conducted himself with injury, with pain, with lost history. Never seen a guy handle it with such class, with less self-pity than him.
Levitt was back on the field the very next Saturday, but playing a different role. He was there to motivate, support, and cheer his team to victory against arch-rival Penn in the final game of the season.
When that Monday rolls around, we could be 0-8, 0-8, 0-9. Penn could be 0-8, 0-9. When that game comes around, it's just madness. We don't like each other very much, and it's easy to get up for Penn. It's a big rivalry. 100 and some odd times we played them, and we just like to go out. We said if we beat Penn, we make the season.
My sole motivation for the entire off season was November 18th, 1995, when I went to Franklin Field and played those guys and lost the championship game, the only championship game I've ever played in my entire life. And I can't speak on behalf of the entire team, but as far as me, Penn was a personal motivation. I mean, that's why I play football, because I wanted to beat those guys so bad.
Heads called. Tails it is. Red, you won the toss right here.
At long last, it was time to play the game Cornell had been waiting a year for.
Five-step drop. He wants Eric Causick, and he's got him open in the end zone. Causick with a great catch, touchdown. He wants Causick deep downfield. He throws into double coverage. Causick makes a great catch. over the middle, and it's pushed with a touchdown as Carroll quick.
Go big, guys. Go, baby. We gotta come big. Let's go. It was perfect.
When it was over, Cornell celebrated its victory with the unbridled enthusiasm of children.
It was a great feeling to win, because that win, even though I wasn't out there playing that day, I took pride in that win. I felt like I had something to do with it, because that was the first time since I've been here that we've beaten Penn, and that was a goal of mine ever since I got into Cornell to beat Penn. So it felt really good. It was an emotional win for me, and it meant a lot to me.
It was a bittersweet feeling because I wanted to beat them more than anything, but I wanted to continue to play football more than anything too. And here I was, standing on the field with, fans all around me, the happiest guy in the world because I just beat Penn for the first time in my career. But at the same time, it's kind of starting to set in that I'm no longer a football player at Cornell.
When you first get here as freshmen, you're with your teammates 24 hours a day for a couple of weeks. You bond together. The time you spend together is, more than anything else on this campus, and I think it just makes that experience at Cornell that much better.
We go through the same hard days and the good days together, so it's important, and I have confidence in everyone, and it's great to have team members like we do on our team.
I can attribute so much to playing sports and playing football. Confidence, organization, discipline, hard work, all the values, all the virtues, all the traits that make up a good person, a hard worker, someone that's very successful outside of football, are just meshed and built in the program.
I'm certain that what these fellows experience as a student athlete here at Cornell in the football program, they're better prepared to compete upon graduation with what life's going to dish them out than if they didn't have it. If they didn't have the work, if they didn't have the successes, if they didn't know how to learn from success and appreciate success, and if they didn't learn how to come back from defeat, they wouldn't have some of those lessons if they didn't play football, because nobody wins them all.
But Cornell did win the big showdown with Penn, and will carry that emotion through the next 8 months and into the 1997 season.
I think I've really come out with a feeling that if these next few years, these guys, these underclassmen that I played with this year, I think they're going to do really well because they've got a great work ethic. And some things didn't go our way this year, but it's going to pay off for these guys in the next couple of years. And I think that's where I'm really going to realize the fruition of everything that's gone on here.